Okay, so I get a lot of questions about this golf club ruler that I have. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to put it together, and I'm also going to show you a couple other tools that you can use to help you build, repair, measure golf clubs, and save a little money. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So I've got 3 tools that I'm going to show you today that I use all the time in the shop. I built them myself, and you can very, very easily put these together yourself very inexpensively to help you measure, fit, and repair golf clubs. We're going to start off with the most basic, move our way up to the club ruler, which is probably the one that most people are interested in. But again, all of these very simple and will save you a lot of money if you choose to do them yourself. Okay, number 1, a ferrule installation tool. So sometimes you're putting together a golf club, you have a ferrule, you have a shaft, and the ferrule will just not quite go over the tip of the shaft. Either the shaft's a little thick or the ferrule's a little too narrow, but it's just an extremely tight fit. And it's helpful if you can get the ferrule started at least and get it down at least part way, where you can then take the head and hammer it down the rest of the way, get it in the right spot. Now you can buy a ferrule installing tool, and they will run usually about $8 to $12, something like that. But you don't need to spend $8 to $12. You don't really almost need to spend anything. All you really need is just a little piece of scrap wood. All this is, and again, this could not be simpler, is a scrap piece of wood with a hole drilled in it. The 2 secrets here: 1, the hole that you drill obviously needs to be big enough that the shaft can fit through it, but it can't be so big that the ferrule fits through it. So it has to be bigger than the tip of the shaft, but it has to be smaller than the wide end of the ferrule. At that point, all you would do is put the ferrule onto the shaft, put it on top of the hole, and just push down to get it started. Again, get it on there enough where you can then get the head on it, tap it down into position, get the right depth. Now, the only other secret or the only other trick with this is you want to make sure your piece of wood is really only about 1 inch thick, because if it gets thicker than this, once you start pushing in the shaft, you could accidentally push too far, in which case the shaft will go way too far in, the ferrule will come way too far up, and then when you put the club together, you'll have a huge gap or some kind of gap between the end of the hosel and the ferrule, which is not what you want. So you really just want enough space to be able to move the ferrule up enough that you can get the head on it, tap it into place, and get it set at the right height. Again, $8 to $12 if you buy one of these from a golf repair, golf club making website, but call this, I don't know, 50 cents, probably less than that, for a little piece of wood. Drill a hole in it, and you are good to go. Okay, next up, a golf ramrod or a heating rod. Goes by either name. Essentially, it's the same thing. Basically just a metal rod with a handle on it, 48 inches long. You're going to use this if you are repairing golf clubs. It'll come in handy in any number of applications, whether it's maybe you've got some old epoxy, or you've got some sort of tip weight that's stuck in here and you can't quite get some pliers on it or something, and you don't want to try and drill it out from this side. You can heat it up, put the ramrod in the other end, and just hammer it out. Or if you ever do any sort of weighting where you use tungsten powder down in the shaft, you're going to need a cork that you stick down in there to hold the tungsten powder in place so it's not just wishing around in the shaft. And to get that shaft and get that cork down into the shaft, again, just a simple ramrod, hammer it down in there, get it into place. So you can buy one of these for between $14 and $21, but you can just as easily make the exact same thing. This is just a piece of, and what do they call it? They call it a steel round rod if you go to a hardware store or you go online to look it up. This is 1/8 of an inch steel round rod. Costs just over $4 for this 48-inch long piece. Then I just came home and I found an old broom and I cut the handle off it just this little bit here. So this was basically free. Then just simply drilled a hole the same size as this rod into the handle, epoxied the rod into the handle, and you're good to go. So all in, I have spent just over $4 on the rod. The handle was free, call it 50 cents worth of epoxy. Under $5, I have now got a ram rod that is every bit as good, basically identical to the $20 one that you can buy online. Okay, the last tool, and this is the one that people ask the most questions about, is the golf club ruler. So you can buy a golf club ruler in a variety of prices, but for the basic design that I sort of mirrored this off of, they will run you around $60 plus shipping plus tax. So $60 for a golf club ruler. Now, compare that to this, and this only has two pieces. It has a 48-inch long aluminum ruler, and it has a gate strap hinge. That's it. Now, altogether, what does that run you? Well, the aluminum ruler costs about $12, I think, and the gate strap hinge is a little over $4. So we're talking about $16 more or less in materials, $17. So all you have to do to make this is you get your 48-inch ruler, you get your gate strap hinge, again, basic gate strap that you would use to hang a door on a gate, basically. And we have epoxied the strap hinge to the back of the ruler. I just use golf club epoxy, but you could use whatever kind of epoxy, whatever glue is going to hold them together. It doesn't have to be golf club specific. When I put them together, I did it so that if I set the strap hinge at a 90-degree angle, you can see that this top piece of the strap rests right against that edge, that top edge of the ruler when it's at 90 degrees. Now, the other tip here, I would say, get a strap hinge that has some resistance to it. You don't want one that just kind of flops around. You want it so that it can stay in whatever position you set it in. It's not going to move around. That's going to make it much easier to measure the golf club. Once you've epoxied it together, then you can just lay the club down on here. The head sits up here. The sole of the club rests on the strap hinge piece here, with the center of it touching. That's how you know you've got the right angle set here, and then you just measure it out. This works for irons, this works for woods, this works for putters, it works for any of it. And again, $60 to buy one of these from a golf retailer or a golf club building site. This, $12 for the ruler, say $4, just over $4 for the strap hinge, 50 cents worth of epoxy. All in, we're talking about maybe $17 to put one of these together. And again, every bit as accurate as the more expensive option. So those are 3 different tools you can put together yourself for a fraction of the price of buying these tools online at golf repair, golf building websites. And the results are going to be every bit as accurate as anything you get on one of those sites. Again, we're talking about $90 basically or more if you bought all 3 of these tools. But if you build them yourself, it's going to cost you around $23, and that will allow you to build, repair, and measure golf clubs every bit as accurately as having those more expensive tools. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please go down below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Mobile Club Maker, and we will see you on the next video.